Hello, everyone. This is Jasmine from A Notch Higher YouTube Living channel, and we're back with another episode. We have a beautiful guest. I'm so excited to introduce Chaute Thompson. Hi, Chaute. How are you?
Hey there, I am well. How are you doing?
I am doing good. It's so great to have you here. So, I am going to get started by introducing you to Chaute. She has a book, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I want to let you know why I have Chaute on this channel today, because she is a prolific person. And let me just read. I'm not going to take anything from her. I'm just going to read what the news says about her. So Chaute Thompson is a licensed mental health counselor. She is a speaker, an author, a consultant, educator, a restoration expert, certified family mediator, and qualified parenting coordinator. Sometimes you got to get your flowers when you're living. So you just sit back and you just take it all in. Chaute offers life-changing strategies, empowerment, personal development, mental and emotional health messages to schools, churches, conferences, workshops, and retreats. Chaute is the owner of Inspiring Hope Counseling Services, LLC, a private practice in Florida, which focuses on helping all families strengthen their family unit, specializing in working with families of divorce to transition smoothly. Ms. Thompson, Chaute is also the founder of Brand New Me, LLC. Brand New Me focuses on providing resources, coaching, education, and empowerment, which enables women to rediscover and redefine themselves, growing past the pain of divorce and life-changing events, encouraging and enabling wholeheartedness. Now, if you didn't know why she's here today, in the space where healthy relationship skills are learned, developed, practiced so that they can ultimately thrive, this is why we have Chaute Thompson today. Welcome
Thank
and
you
welcome
for
again,
having
ma'am.
me. So happy to be here with you today.
So happy to have you. Now, this will not be a counseling or therapy session, just so people know they're not getting anything free in this regard of they wanted to connect with you, they will have to do that. But I did want to bring you on today so that we can normalize the practice of communicating with a therapist,
Mhm.
especially in the Black community and the Christian community, two communities that I'm a part of. And I thought it was important to bring this kind of taboo subject sometimes to the forefront and have a person who has a brown face and who practices this therapy and this whole practice of healthy relationships. So I'm going to let you say anything that you will want to before I even ask you any questions. Is there anything that you would like to say?
Well, no, I am honored to be here with you today because what you are doing is so needed, and we need to break stigma, and especially with everything with the pandemic and with so
Yes.
many individuals hurting, grieving, we need to know that there is help out there, and there is a way to have healthier relationships with our family, with our friends,
Mhm.
with our significant others. It's possible. So
Yeah.
I love that you have this safe space for us to be able to dive into it.
That's awesome. So let's do that. Let's dive right in. So the reason why you really caught my attention from your Instagram profile is that it listed you as a restoration, let me get it right, relationship and restoration expert. I was
Mhm.
just like, what is that? But I'm so drawn to it. So please share what that means, what it entails.
Well, yeah, it basically just means that I've done the work, right? I've gone
Mm,
to school, I've worked with individuals, I've done my own inner work, right? And
yes.
from there, I'm in a place now where I can speak on many topics to help individuals have healthier connections, have a healthier relationship with themselves, and have healthy relationships with others, right? Being able
Yes.
to be emotionally mature, to be able
Yes.
to name what's happening within them,
Yeah.
and from there knowing how to communicate effectively, so all of these things plays a role in having healthier relationships. And then as far as being a restoration expert,
Mhm.
Brand New Me is really focused on helping folks who have gone through significant breakups,
Okay.
right? Be it a divorce, be it was a long-term relationship, be it where you were
Mhm.
in a relationship for a year or 6 months, but you were so engrossed in this relationship, now it's hurting and you need to
Yes.
detox and you need
Yes.
to figure yourself out and you need to get back to a place where you're feeling really good to
Mhm.
eventually get back out there or not get back out there. But you feel really good that you are whole within yourself and you
Yes.
are knowing who you are at your core. Because many times we lose ourselves in relationships. So the restoration expert is about getting back to the basics of self and then
Mhm.
from there knowing how to have healthy relationships with others. So both of them are really just geared around being healthy overall, communicating well, and being able to connect on another level.
I love that because what you're really focusing on is that relationships, they will need to have some type of focus, sometimes of restoration.
Mhm.
Sometimes we kind of go over that and just hope that things will get better. But to focus and hone in on that is to acknowledge everything doesn't always happen the way that we intend for it to. And we don't want to
Mhm.
keep going through life or through relationships broken or
Right.
unhealed or unrepaired or unwhole. So I love that. So one thing that you mentioned just now, uh, being and having a healthy relationship with yourself first.
Mhm.
What you also focus on and your practice is strengthening the family unit. Why do you think that's also very important in your work in your practice or in life?
Well, yeah. Well, when in my practice, I help folks to strengthen their family unit, right? And
Mhm.
the reason I do that is we are individuals and then we are a unit. So the
Yes.
work that I do is I work with individuals to kind of help them heal, help them go through different processing that they need to do for self. But then I work with the family as a whole to mend different dynamics with relationships. It could be mother daughter, it could be mother
Mhm.
son, it could be father daughter, father son. And as I work within the family unit, I am helping the entire unit to become whole and become
Nice.
strong.
Nice.
So it's so
Nice.
important to do our own work. And when we do our own work, it helps the family as a whole. But then sometimes the family needs to come in as well to be able to do work together. So I'm able to help the entire process move smoothly.
I love that. That's very powerful. So I'm going to ask a question that just saves myself. So what if I say to you, well, the way I am is the way that I am. The way
Hmm.
my family is the way my family is.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what we should do about that. So how would you address the elephant in the room of like sometimes I just assume that this is how it is. I can't really change. Is that
Well, there's a twofold for that one, right?
okay?
So the first way that I will help someone through that is, okay, you need to take note of how these interactions make you feel.
Mm,
And when you're able to take note of how it makes you feel, communicating these things to others or taking note of what the other person's actually capable of.
okay.
Sometimes we are wanting our parents or our siblings to do something or be something
Hmm.
that they're not even capable of being and doing.
That's
So
true.
when we're able to look at it through that lens, now we can either decide with self, can I tolerate these
Mm,
behaviors or these actions or them as a person? Can I tolerate it because this is just a part of who they are? And I can accept it and deal with it and know that it's only for a moment that I'm with them and I love on them anyway.
okay.
Or is it something where it affects me so much that I need to be able to limit my interactions with this person,
And
right?
that's okay?
That's okay, of course.
Okay.
You can definitely limit your interactions, right?
Okay.
So that's one way to deal with it, right?
Okay.
Because we cannot change anyone,
No.
right? So
That's
that's the
very
first
good.
way I would say.
Okay.
But then the second way that you can approach it is having conversations, right? And if you
Mm,
like to think about a growth mindset, we all evolve. we are constantly evolving.
Very
So
true.
are there different things that we can do as a family? Like, are we all able to identify that there's something going on here? We
Okay.
need to communicate a little bit better, or we need to be nicer to each other, or we need to forgive some things that happened in our past that's really just holding us back from really enjoying each other's company. Right. And if we're able to identify that and we all want something different, now as a unit, we can start to do something different. We can start to seek help. We can start to read certain books, have certain
Mhm.
discussions, listen to certain podcasts, go to therapy,
Go to
right?
therapy. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yes,
right. And then we can start to address the concerns within our family or our
that's powerful.
interaction.
That's really good. That's really good. So, like, I haven't said anything since we started, but I have a band-aid on my face. So, I
Mhm,
burned myself, and the skin on my face came off, and there was literally, you could visibly see that my face was burned. Going
mhm,
along with the topic of restoration, healing, um, I think so many times I have seen healing as just one-sided. But one thing that, even as you're saying this, I have the band-aid on my face because it was distracting to me, and it still was open.
mhm,
The wound was still open. So I've put oil, and I've put
mhm.
antibiotic on my face, but I've covered it. So I just wanted to tie that into what you're saying, because I could completely ignore what's going on and not put anything on my face and just hope that it gets better. Or the care that I've taken, the reason why I have this band-aid on and I'm not really so much concerned what it looks like, because I know that if I do not do what is necessary, it can prolong my
Mhm,
skin from healing. So
mhm.
in what you're saying, again, this is physical, but I think emotional, we don't look at it that way because we can't really see a scar or a wound. So sometimes we just act like it doesn't exist. But
Mhm.
unlike a physical wound, if we don't care for, well, unlike a physical wound, we can't see it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and it still
Right.
needs care and concern.
Definitely. And I'll go a step further with you, ma'am.
Yeah, go.
Because when we have our cuts, when we have our burns, when we have some type of scab happening, what happens is now you got to the white meat, right? So you're
Yes.
at the white meat. Now you're trying to clean it and nurture it and help it to get better, right? Because now there's a wound. You identified it. So now, all
Yes.
right, I want it to get better. So now as it's getting better, what's happening? It's gonna look uglier before it looks where it needs to be,
That
right?
part.
So
Yes.
as you're processing and you're trying to get to a really nice, healthy, comfortable place, you're gonna have a scab. All right. And you're going to
Exactly.
have something there that you have to leave it alone and let it do what it do. Right. And this is
That's it.
where you're journaling. This is where you're meeting with your therapist and you're processing and you're gaining insight and
Yes.
you're doing the legwork, but you are not digging out anything because now you've identified, now you're doing the work. And then once that scab is gone and now it's just a spot, or you've put the
Yes.
cocoa butter on it and the spot's gone,
Yes.
but then it's totally healed, right? So that's the
Exactly.
same thing that happens with us as individuals and in different relationships. But
It's
we
so
got to
true.
put in the work. We got to first identify where the concern and the issue is. And once we identify it, now, what are we
Mm.
going to do about it? Are we going to
Come
ignore
on.
it, pretend it's not there? Right? Because you can cover it up with a clear band-aid, pretend it's not there, right? There's nothing being drawn to this cut or anything like that, right? And you can
Right.
just not even mention it, pretend like nothing's happened. But is that healing? You didn't put any
Wow.
neosporin on it. You didn't put any type of care into it. Then when it heals or when it tries to heal,
Come on. That's it. Right.
then
Right.
this scab that's there, it's not really going to be able to get the nurture that it needs to get to that state of only being a no spot whatsoever. Right? You got to do the work.
Gotta do the work. I love that. And then the reason why we want to do this we use my burn as an example, but
Mhm,
after I heal, I can keep moving forward. I don't have to
mhm,
stay scarred. So
mhm.
we don't have to stay, like you said, in that state of being unhealed. Or
Exactly.
yes, we can address those
Mhm.
wounds and we can care and nurture and keep moving forward. So I love
Definitely.
how this Band-Aid story is still once again gonna have a positive spin on it
Yes,
because I will
yes.
not burn my face from fresh lentil soup again.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I had a great question, and I'm gonna have a post that I have, and I'm gonna
Okay.
prepare it because I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
prepare that post because if you haven't followed Chaute, Chaute, give us your
My
Instagram name.
IG, it's Chaute Thompson. That's Chaute Thompson, Thompson.
Excellent. We will have that in the description box, and you will have that. So let's see. I'm actually going to jump right into your post because I
Okay.
want to get through this, and it was a powerful post. And let's see. One thing Chaute talks about is emotional maturity. And if you've never heard me say that before, you haven't been listening because emotional maturity is one of my life values, literally. So she has characteristics of emotional maturity in a relationship. So, Chaute, this is going to be kind of like a fun part or a game, so to
Okay.
speak.
Okay.
I am going to read off what you had because it's so powerful, and you
Mhm.
can just expound on it a little bit more to give
Okay.
us more, yeah, more meat to it, which is meaty already. But for some people who read a post, the beauty of this is that they have the person behind the post. So
Mhm.
I figure we can do that. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. So characteristics of emotional maturity in a relationship. Number one, the ability to have difficult and or emotional conversations with a level of calmness, accountability, and respect. What say
Mhm.
ye? What does
My
that mean?
goodness. I mean, that gives you peace, right? So when you're able to have conversation and have these difficult conversations, be it a disagreement, be
Mhm.
it an argument, be it where, and I don't even like to say argument because it truly is just a disagreement. An argument sounds like it's a yelling match, right?
That's
But a
true.
disagreement for me is more of we can respectfully discuss,
Yes.
disagree, state our cases, right? Hear each other's hearts, which is so important to me, right? Where we can hear
Wow.
what the person is saying, how they're feeling, how our actions are affecting them, right? And when we
Yes.
take note of all of that, now we can be able to take a step back, right? And it's not where your emotions are overpowering being able to hear and connect with your
Wow.
partner.
That is mature. Yes, that's a powerful internal compass. So that again would be the person doing their inner work because I can't show up present for you if I can't show up present for me.
Mhm.
Wow. Woo, let's go to number two. The ability to look at situations through different lenses, empathizing instead of only seeing one way while also taking opportunities to improve.
Yeah, so many times so there's perspective
Mhm,
and there's perception,
mhm,
right? So
mhm.
we are going to perceive, our perception is going to be based on what we've experienced,
Very true.
right?
Very
Whatever
true.
past things that we have experienced, then we're going to see things that way through those lens,
Mhm.
right? But if we're able to see the other person's perspective, to come out of our shoes and get into theirs.
That's
Try and understand where they're coming from, why they're feeling the way that they're feeling, what are they actually
yes.
seeing, right? See it from their point of view. Then we're able to empathize with them more, right? We're able to better
Yes.
understand why they're addressing the issue the way that they're addressing it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Why we're hearing it a certain way because of the way that because of the things that we've
We've
experienced,
experienced.
right?
Yes.
And
That's
now
good.
we can better understand why they might be saying it a certain way because of what they've experienced. But when we're able to come to the table, connect and understand where each other's coming from,
Mhm.
that just brings another level to the entire thing.
That really does, because as you mentioned before, it's not an argument, it's not a yelling match.
Mhm.
Yes. Wow. Wow. Okay. And then number three, the ability to share one's perspectives and feelings in a compassionate, empathetic manner.
Mhm. Definitely, and that kinda goes back to
Mhm.
number 2, but it's where we are being kind with our words, right?
Yes.
We are being careful not to speak at, but to speak with, right?
Yes.
And when we're doing that, we're being much more loving and caring and thoughtful.
All things that draw people to us as opposed to
Mhm.
repel, because loving, caring, and thoughtful, even if I do have something that is um, a barrier to hearing because of what my experience is, the loving, caring, thoughtfulness draws me in at least to stay around as opposed to us clashing because of our experiences.
Yeah.
That's very deep.
Mhm.
Okay. So you have emotional maturity in action. It says when having a disagreement, being able to pause if conversations get too sensitive and come back to the topic at a later date. With this, still being able to have loving conversations. Now, I think some people may feel that's impossible. Tell us why that's not impossible.
Oh my goodness, it's not impossible at all,
Mhm,
right? It's very possible to have a partner or a friend
mhm.
that you are
Child.
having or child,
Okay.
definitely,
Yes, I
that
love it.
you're having a disagreement with, that you might not like a behavior that was done, and you can bring it up, not get stuck on it. You might not be ready to really dive into it. And you can still laugh with each other. You can still watch a favorite show with each other. You can still give each other a hug and a kiss goodbye, right?
Mhm.
And then later on, when you both are in a better headspace, where you both have thought through it, come up with how you want to help the other person understand your perspective, right?
Yes.
Then you can have a sit down and talk through it.
Mm.
So the love and the care is not removed because
Yes.
of a disagreement. It
Yes.
doesn't have to be removed. It should not be
So we
removed.
still can feel what we feel, but we agree, okay, we're going to pause, table it, so to speak, and we'll
Mhm,
come back when we're both at a place and we're both able to say, okay, we're ready now.
mhm.
So, yeah, tabling that discussion. That's going to the parking lot in the
Mhm.
business world. I love
Yeah.
it. Okay. You brought this one up already, but I still will read. If having a bad day, sharing that fact with a partner and asking for necessary space. It's a little different.
Yeah. That's
be-
a little different. Yeah,
Yeah, it
no, but
is.
there are times when, let's say, sometimes you really just need some space. Sometimes you really just need to woosah when you get home from a long day, right? So instead of taking it out or being easily irritable with your loved ones, actually saying, I had a rough day today.
Yeah.
I just need to get my head right. It's not you, but I just need some space right now, or I just need some time right now. And that's healthy.
Yes, yes. And that talks about the maturity phase because I know where I am right now. And I'm saying, like, I'm going to let you know because I already know it's not
Mhm.
time for me to say anything right now. I need a little bit of space.
Yep.
To your point of the mature part, it's not me feeling like, well, I have to because I don't want to let this person down. It's like, I'm not
Mhm.
going to be fully present for you because I need some
Exactly.
space for myself.
Mhm.
That's epic. I love it. I love it. Okay. So, what does it look like not having emotional maturity in relationship? And you list three things. I'm just going to
Mhm.
list them. And then for this one, I think we kind of know because sometimes we lean more to this, but I still want you to speak on this. So,
Okay.
not having emotional maturity in relationships can look like this. When angry, frustrated, annoyed, etc., taking it out on a partner or another person, bottling up and or suppressing emotions and lacking empathy. So,
Mhm. How many times have we been in a relationship that you get on the phone and you're feeling fine, you're looking forward to talk to this person, and everything that you say, they feel like you're nitpicking. Everything that you
mm,
say, it ends up in an argument or it just goes sideways. And when you hang up and you think to yourself, well, what did I do? How did I? Then you can look back and see, it really wasn't me. They really was having a bad day.
right,
Right?
right.
And that's a part of that's not emotional maturity in action, right? Because instead of them letting you know, I'm not doing well, I had a rough
Yes,
day. There's so
yes,
much going on. I'm super stressed, right? Stress can cause irritability big time,
for
right?
sure.
It can cause people to
Exactly.
be short, right? Where
Hmm.
they are not pouring into you. They don't want to talk much. They clam up some, right? So all of these things, instead of expressing where they are, what they need, how you can support them, right? These
Yes,
things are what's needed. And instead
yes,
of doing that, bottling everything up, not really identifying what's going on, not having a kind and compassionate tone,
hmm,
right? These are the other things that are not emotionally mature. And we need to be
right.
mindful of that. I know when I'm dating, this is something that's at the very top of my list. If I cannot have emotionally mature conversations with you, I'm not going to waste my time.
There you have it. Yes, yes. And it's interesting because depending on what, again, the care that we have for ourselves, we can accept things that are wasting our time because we don't think we're worthy or
Mhm.
we don't think we're good enough to have something more. So something or someone is better than nothing, or I like how you said that, knowing who we are and being healthy and mature ourselves, that's what we attract because we have a different standard when we're
Right.
dating. I mean, even in our family relationships, like you said, giving people the space and being
Mhm.
able to limit the time that we have. I don't think people give themselves the permission to create the healthy boundaries to
Mhm.
be in those spaces that they need to because of our lack of emotional maturity.
Very true, very true. So I encourage all of your listeners to take some time and get therapy, right?
Mhm.
Even if you don't feel like there's anything pressing in your life right now, the same way that every 3 months we go and we get an oil change and we get our tires rotated and
Come
we
on.
make sure all the fluids in our vehicle is going right, right? We
Yes.
need to be able to have wellness checkups for ourselves.
I
And
love
the same
it.
way you do it for yourself physically, we need to do it for ourselves mentally as well.
I love it.
Unfortunately, I'm going to share with you insurance is not covering wellness checkups per se, but it's still something that we need as a
Yes.
people. Okay.
Yes.
We need to make sure that we are getting regular check ins with the therapist
I love
just to
it.
be able to talk through our everyday stuff because we might not even realize that we're holding in stress or that our body is holding on to things that we need to be able to let go of. And there's always tools that we can add to our virtual toolbox to continue being healthy individuals.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because insert book. Brand new me, complimented, complete, and whole. You just brought it up. This is Chaute's book. You can find it on her website. I will list the information. She says to have a happier, healthier relationship with self and others. And it's funny that you brought it up because I was going to bring this up. I was attempting to. I'm a book reader, avid
Mhm.
book reader. I wanted to read this book before we interviewed today. But let me tell you, reading this book, you will not get through it overnight because this is a therapy session in of itself. This in of itself, not just by itself, but it gets the prime, pumps the prime. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Pumps the prime. And you just mentioned something. Insurance doesn't cover wellness checkups, but they don't cover our oil changes either. We're more
Mhm.
important than our oil changes in the sense of continuing that that maintenance. So there is one thing that you have in here, I wanted to bring attention to because you have 4 steps to the process of forgiveness. And the
Mhm.
reason why I wanted to bring this up is because just what you're saying, a lot of times we have things inside of us, but if we don't have a targeted focus or we don't have something to highlight that, we just
Mhm.
keep it inside. So you have the 4 steps. I'm not going to tell you because I want you to get the book, buy the book, buy the book. But this is a workbook style, which I thank you and appreciate that I had the time to stop and go through it. Because again, with books, it's easy sometimes to say, "Oh, I'll just read it, so I'll be, up on the know." And it's like what you said about wellness checks. This is not one of the type of books that you sit and read in one setting. This is, I will be reading this, and this is a life resource now for me because there was a part, and I want to be transparent in. You have things about accessing or the 5 stages of grief, and
Mhm.
then assessing depression. I literally went through this, and there was my score was mild depression,
Mhm.
and I can honestly say sometimes I'll be like, well, no, I don't feel depressed. Not that
Mhm.
being depressed is something wrong with it, but I answer honestly. And truthfully, there are times when I have thought and I've said out loud to a therapist, I said, I just feel like I have this low level depression,
Mhm.
meaning because it's just like it just sits there.
Mhm.
And to your point of acknowledging and being aware of it, but then what do I do with it? That was
Right.
the reason why I wanted to say it out loud because one of my friends, she mentioned when I said something about depression, it surprised her. And then I
Mhm.
thought about it, I was like, well, I never want to come across like I don't have issues. And
Mhm.
sometimes, to your point of being so um, focus and just keep moving forward and not wanting to pay attention, we don't bring attention to ourselves and we don't
Mhm.
have that awareness. So I can't really acknowledge something that I'm not paying attention to.
Mhm.
So I wanted to bring that up so people can see and people will know that it's not always something on the surface that's glaring at us. But if we're not doing those wellness checkups, if we're not digging
Mhm.
deeper, if we're not going to see a therapist, I say Jesus and therapy because I believe the way that Jesus walked with his disciples, that was therapeutic. I mean, you had the
Mhm.
Son of Man and he's walking 3 years. To me, that sharing space and time and connection. So
Mhm.
normalizing the part of our lives. He wants us to have a life that's integrated with wholeness and healthy living and skills because emotional maturity, I understand now, it's not something that you just pick up and say, I have it. It's something that you
Mhm.
develop over time.
And
And
it's
it's
continuous
there.
work. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Shantae, tell people how they can get in contact with you. Before you do that, you have something coming up that people, if you're a parent and you
Mhm.
want to have healthy relationships, I want us to talk about that. Yes,
Definitely. Thank you for mentioning that. So
yes.
I have a positive parenting workshop. It's an 8-week virtual workshop. I have one starting May 3rd.
Okay, May 3rd. Okay,
2022, it's May 3rd, July 5th, and September 6th. So
okay.
these are the 3 start dates for this year. And it's where we're going to be able to have group discussion. I'm going to teach about attachment styles, like teach about disciplining and teach about love languages so you can better understand what your child's love languages are and then how to discipline in love. We'll
Mhm.
be able to learn about some of what happened to us when we were parented and how is that impacting how we parent now, and
Nice.
then kind of developing a customized type of manual for ourselves to be able to parent the way that we really would like to parent and building healthier relationships, really nice secure relationships with our children.
That's
So
beautiful.
this is going to be able to provide you with that, and then on top of that you're going to get con- two consulting calls with me, so we'll be able to dive into what you need in your home.
That's powerful. What you just said, it parenting does not have a roadmap. So to be able to have a resource, to be able to have a guide post, to be able to have something that helps parents and equipping parents. Thank you for doing the work that you are doing, because this is strengthening the family unit. We do want to have strong families, right? So we will have all of the information in the description box, because please repeat the dates again one more time for the
It's going
people in
to
the back.
be May 3rd,
Okay.
July 5th, and September 6th. So
8.
I'll send you some of the information that you'll be able to put in there. And then you're asking, how can folks stay in touch with me?
Yes.
My Instagram is at Chaute Thompson. My Facebook is at Brand New Me Journey. I also have a Facebook page for my practice, which is Inspire Hope Health Healing. And then from there, websites are Inspire Hope Health Healing. I'm licensed in Florida and Georgia.
Okay.
And then for coaching and consultation, it's Brand New Me Journey.
So there is no way that you cannot contact this young lady, okay? She is in all the spaces, okay? All the spaces. We will have all of that information for you. Chaute, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
really appreciate the time, and I really appreciate you coming into this space to create it even a more safe space and cultivating the space where healthy relationship skills can be learned, developed, practiced, so they can ultimately thrive. As you inspire hope, thank you. Brand New Me, get her book. Let's put the book up one more time. Let's get her book. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.